Hi, this is Athena StarSeed, and this is a series called Raising Reverence. And today I am interviewing my spiritual teacher, George A.Boyd. And so, welcome to Raising Reverence.
Thank you.
I just want to tell everybody briefly how I met you. I was staying at Nandi G's, and Ganga and Tara, very good friends of ours, said to me while I was doing some computer work for Nandi, you have to go out there. There's an amazing spiritual master out there and you should go out and meet him. And I said, no, I'm really busy. And they're like, no, you're not going to want to miss this guy. And I was like, oh, really? So I went out and I overheard him talking to Nandi G a little bit about spiritual techniques, and you brought him some gifts. And I was pretty much blown away. And I found out that you teach spiritual classes. And so I ended up taking one of your advanced master meditation mudra.
That's called the Mudrashram Master Course in Meditation is the one you took.
And Ganga and Tara took the same class, and we absolutely loved it. So I wanted you to tell everybody how you got involved in spirituality, and were you always spiritual, or did you have something that woke you up?
Well, I started meditating when I was probably 15 years old, and I used to go to the Santa Monica Library, and I would read books on Buddhism and Theosophy. And then I started my seeking process. I go to different groups. I chanted with the Nichiren Shoshu. I went to Baha'i firesides. I chanted with the Hare Krishnas. I went to many different groups. I started to study the Self-Realization Fellowship lessons. And in 1967, I went up to the Summer of Love. So I tell people that, you know, when I say peace and love, it's authentic, baby.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 17.
17, okay.
Yes.
So this is the 60s?
1960s, yes.
All right.
And so I wound up meeting a young lady, and I went up to Portland, Oregon, and we wound up getting baptized and joining a born-again Christian group. And I had my plans, I'm going to marry this lady, and all of a sudden in the middle of the night, I got this vision, like this flaming triangle appeared to me and says, you're to go to Los Angeles right now. I said, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. He says, no, you are to go right now. I said, but no buts, go.
Okay, wait a minute. You're in a sound sleep and it wakes you up, or
Yes.
Are you in a dream and you're dreaming?
No, sound sleep, woke me up. And
a flaming triangle is like floating in the air above your head, or
it was like inside of me with great force coming into it. I later understood that is probably the Father God. Yes. And so I went back to Los Angeles and started going to college. And while I was doing this, I was believing that I was a Christian minister, and I was going and baptizing people and doing stuff like that. So when I got back to Los Angeles, I started reading books, studying more with the Self-Realization Fellowship. And I just had this deep longing to find God. You know, it's hard for me to concentrate on anything but that. And so one day, one of my friends gave me a call, and she says, oh, I've met this wonderful master, and he gives the light, and he paints these pictures of the great masters of love and wisdom. They're so beautiful. So I said, okay, that's nice. And, so I filed the name away. It didn't really register all that much. And then it was in this bookstore that used to exist, probably 30 years ago. It's called the Carlton Bookstore. And I went in there, and here is this little painting of an angel, absolutely beautiful. And here's this name the lady told me, Maha Genie. I said, well, that's odd. And my intuition says, well, why don't you go and ask the man behind the counter where this man lives? And I'm thinking, well, why would he know where this man lives? And the proprietor turns out to be one of his students. And so he says, oh, he lives at 220 California Avenue, apartment 7. I said, that's odd. And then my intuition says, please go there right now. It's probably maybe a mile and a half away, not too far away. But I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go up and knock on this guy's door. He's going to have me arrested. Well, you know, I said, well, okay, I know my mom's number. She can bail me out.
Following your intuition could be very tricky.
Okay, so I knock on the door, and all of a sudden I feel this energy coming through the door. And here is this man in a Nehru suit. He's about probably 6 feet tall, not a hair out of place. It's so quiet that it's hissing in there. And he looks at me, he looks me up and down, he says, "Oh, you come for the light, haven't you?" And he proceeds to hold his hands in the air and give me a blessing of the light. And I don't know where I went, but it was like 30 pounds of light being put inside of you. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And he asked me, "Oh, by the way, I have meetings on Wednesday night and Sunday," and I'm going,
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes,
More.
I'll come. So I studied with him for about 6 months, and then he disappeared. You know, no word. He didn't have his regular meetings. Actually, he had moved not too far away, but he didn't bother to tell anybody where he was, where he'd gone to, or he didn't tell me. So here I am again, so I say, well, okay, I still don't feel satisfied. I still want to find this teacher. And I wanted to give a picture of my first teacher. He's down at the bottom. This is what he looked like.
Maha Genie right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and you're still 17?
No, actually, this is probably closer to age 20, because I was in college for a few years when I came back.
So you got the purple triangle. You knew to go back to LA. You kind of continued your studies, and then you just happened on this Maha Genie.
Yes.
And now he disappears out of thin air after he gave you this blessing of light. And now what happens?
Yeah. Well, I studied with him for about 6 months.
Okay.
And, you know, he kept giving me more and more light. I went into samadhi. I had a full track remembrance of all my past lives. I mean, absolutely amazing.
Wait a minute. We don't know what samadhi is. What does samadhi mean?
Samadhi is a state in which you are absorbed in your spiritual essence, your soul, and you're completely one with it. Everything disappears, and you see just a great ocean of light, and all knowledge is pouring out of you.
And so are you witnessing like a film strip coming in, and you see your every life you've ever had as a film, or is it happening simultaneously? Or
no, it's like watching a video. So going back, I'm like going back in time, and I'm actually seeing, just like watching a movie, all of my lives, all except the only difference, instead of like watching a movie outside, there was a sense of that I am this character. I was this character. I was this character. Full track remembrance of all lives in the cycle of time while I was studying with him.
Did you feel the pain of every death, or you just got to view the lives? You didn't see how you died?
I got to view the lives, the whole thing.
And how you died too?
How I died too.
And was it painful to watch all that?
Well, it was just like watching a movie that you're detached from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a sense of detachment from it, but at the same time, you know, I recognize, okay, these are my past lives. I recognize that.
Wow. And did you just go right back to your regular life after that?
Well, I was in college at the time, and became increasingly difficult for me to focus on school. Needless to say.
I guess so, because
needless to say,
there's so much in here with the cosmos that it'd be almost dull and boring to come back out here again.
Well, it turns out that after he left, you know, I had read a book called The Path of the Masters by Dr. Julian Johnson. And this book was about this path called Sant Mat. And I recognized after reading that, I've got to find a Sadhguru. So this is kind of like my little mantra going on all the time in the background. You know, Sadhguru, Sadhguru, Sadhguru. And so it turns out that I got initiated in another path for a little while called the Nanda Marga. And I was with some of my friends, and we went down to the beach. And they were carrying up Pacific Ocean Park, which is a big amusement park that used to be in the Santa Monica beach area. And so we were getting some of the timbers. And all of a sudden, we're walking down the boardwalk carrying these timbers, and here's this sign, Sadhguru has come.
Just on a billboard?
Yes, on the billboard. Sadhguru has come. Well, of course, it intrigued me. So I said, well, I have to check this out. So I go to the Wilshire Ebell Theater.
Okay, wait a minute. What's a Sadhguru?
Okay. A Sadhguru, okay, there are different orders of teachers. The first order of teachers is in the first band of the continuum. We call it the planetary realm, and it's called an adept or an adept master. Now at the next level, we have what we call a cosmic master. And then when you move to the next level, which we call the super cosmic realm, that's a teacher we call a guru or a super cosmic master. And at the very, very deepest level of the continuum of light is what we call the transcendental realm. And at that level, the beings are called Sadhguru. So I was looking for a being who taught Sant Mat, this form of meditation in the transcendental realms.
And then just one day he just appeared on a billboard.
Well, I mean, I see this, and so I said, well, I got to check this out because I'm looking for a Sadhguru, and here it says the universe is saying Sadhguru has come. And so I went to this lecture at the Wilshire Ebell Theater, and here was this little boy, 13-year-old boy, sitting on a throne, and he had these orange-robed Mahatmas grinning from ear to ear, and he had some of his American disciples who had been to India who were like giving satsang, giving discourse. And, you know, I mean, it wasn't anything I hadn't heard before. You know, it's kind of like standard Hindu holy man discourse. The world is illusion.
It's all Maya.
And you're suffering because you've not realized God, right? So,
okay.
so there.
That's what we're doing. We're suffering.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, you know, standard discourse. I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. But the thing that intrigued me was that there was this vibration, this energy here. I'd never felt it before. I didn't know what it was. And so he proceeds to invite people. Well, if you would like to learn more, come and stay with me above the Hollywood Bowl on Alta Loma Terrace. And I said, I'm going. So
I go too.
So anyway, I went and camped out there with probably about 10 other people, and they fed us meals, and we do a service during the day. Then he would sit on a big love seat, and he would give satsang. He would give spiritual discourse, and you could ask him questions. So I said, okay, I'm going to ask him if he's a Sadhguru, because he's going to know about the 5 shabds of Guru Nanak. And the 5 shabds of Guru Nanak are the great words that made all of creation. So I said, if he's a Sadhguru, he's going to know about that. And he proceeds to talk about the wind and the rain. And I don't even know what he was saying, but he completely blew my mind. The depth of his realization was absolutely beyond any concept I'd ever had. I mean, absolutely blazing realization. I just threw myself at his feet, and I was just weeping. And
did he go over the 5 things?
Oh, he didn't even talk about them.
Oh, okay. You dropped into the wind and you felt everything in creation.
Yeah, I mean, his realization was beyond anything that I had ever imagined, you know, anything I'd ever conceived. I mean, absolutely blazing realization. And so finally I got up the courage to ask him. I wanted to receive knowledge, and he looked at me and says, sure, you have knowledge.
And so did he touch your third eye?
No, okay. So then you go in a room with one of his disciples wearing the orange robe. They call them Mahatmas. And then they teach you, they give you the techniques. They teach you the techniques.
So what's a Mahatma? What does that mean?
Well, a Mahatma is just the name that they gave to their initiators, the people who teach the meditation. And
okay.
it indicates the person has reached a certain stage on the spiritual path.
Okay, is this him right here? The second picture, so we show that?
Yeah, this is a picture of him this is probably about 10 years later, right here.
Okay, and he also goes by Prem Rawat now.
Yes.
Is that correct? Because he's...
Yes, Prempal Singh Rawat. At
Okay.
the time, his spiritual name is Sadhguru Bal Yogeswar. And so, but he's kind of gotten rid of a lot of the terminology. He just goes by his personal name now.
Well, that's probably more to cross all boundaries. So people, it's more identifiable instead of going through an Indian technology.
Right. Anyway, I studied with him for about 5 years. And during that period, I was meditating 8 to 10 hours a day. And it was not like, well, now I'm going to meditate. It was sort of more like I was just sucked into this vortex, and vision after vision after vision was pouring through me. And I was just sitting there watching and watching, revelation after revelation, moving through world after world.
And are you sitting on a couch, or are you laying on the floor, or where are you?
Well, this usually I would meditate. I'd go out in the yard. We lived down in Topanga Beach, and so I would go out in the yard and I'd kind of just hang with the dogs out in the yard, and I'd meditate.
And then you just be sucked out.
Yeah, I'd just be in this deep, incredible state of meditation. 8 to 10 hours, solid.
Okay, so we're going to have to end this clip right now, and we're going to start a second one. So this is just part one, and we are on your second, basically teacher in a pantheon of actually gurus here that have helped you get to where you are right now, which is a master teacher.
Yes.
So this is Athena StarSeed. This is a series called Raising Reverence, and we'll be right back with George A. Boyd, Master Spiritual Teacher, with part two. Thanks. Stay tuned.